I will give you exact science, research-based, and accurate, real tips about your health for free. You are spending money every month on omega-3 fish oil capsules, memory supplements, antidepressants, and cholesterol medications that cost $20, $30, $60, while something that costs $1 per serving and looks exactly like a human brain, which is not a coincidence, as you are about to understand, has now been validated by modern clinical research to be the single most powerful whole food for brain health ever studied, reducing the inflammatory markers driving Alzheimer's disease by measurable amounts in just weeks, improving memory and cognitive processing speed in adults over 45, lowering LDL cholesterol while simultaneously raising HDL, reducing the cortisol and anxiety that chronic stress produces, and delivering the alpha-linolenic acid, polyphenols, and melatonin combination that no fish oil capsule, no memory supplement, and no cholesterol medication provides together in a single food. People over 45 are buying DHA supplements extracted from fish, separated from the complete omega-3 matrix that whole walnuts provide, processed at temperatures that oxidize the very fatty acids they contain, and sold at 30 times the cost per gram of omega-3 that a handful of walnuts delivers fresh and unoxidized every single day. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you eat walnuts for 7 days over 45. But first, hold this question. If walnuts are the only nut clinically proven to significantly improve brain function, lower cardiovascular risk, and reduce depression markers simultaneously for $1, what has your brain actually been starving for all this time? I am Dr. Christine Rodriguez, and today I'm going to give you the complete science of what 7 days of daily walnut consumption does inside your body, from your brain to your arteries to your gut to your sleep, starting from day 1. Now, let me tell you exactly what happens inside your body when you eat walnuts for 7 days over 45. 3 things change, and by the time I finish describing all 3, you will understand why this one daily handful is more clinically validated for brain and cardiovascular health than any supplement combination you have ever purchased. The first thing that happens is your brain begins receiving the specific fats it has been depleted of since your mid-40s. The human brain is 60% fat by dry weight, and the specific fats that make up the neuronal cell membranes, the myelin sheaths insulating nerve fibers, and the synaptic membranes where neurotransmitter signaling occurs, are predominantly omega-3 fatty acids. After 45, the diet of most adults is dramatically deficient in omega-3 and disproportionately high in omega-6, the inflammatory fatty acids abundant in processed foods, vegetable oils, and most of the modern food supply. This omega-6 to omega-3 imbalance, which in healthy populations should be 4-to-1, and in most adults over 45 is closer to 20-to-1, drives the neuroinflammation that degrades synaptic function, impairs memory consolidation, and accelerates the cognitive decline that aging alone does not fully explain. Walnuts provide alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, the plant-based omega-3 that the body converts to DHA and EPA, the brain-specific omega-3 fatty acids that neuronal membranes require for the fluidity and flexibility that efficient signal transmission depends on. 1 ounce of walnuts provides 2.5 grams of ALA, more than any other nut, at a conversion rate that, while partial, delivers meaningful DHA and EPA alongside the complete polyphenol and antioxidant matrix that isolated fish oil does not contain. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that walnut consumption for 8 weeks produced significant improvements in memory, processing speed, and mood scores in adults over 60, with improvements correlating directly with the increase in omega-3 index measured in red blood cell membranes, confirming that the ALA from walnuts was being incorporated into brain tissue. The second thing that happens is your cardiovascular risk profile begins shifting in multiple directions simultaneously. Walnuts are the only nut that contains significant amounts of all three types of vitamin E: alpha-tocopherol, gamma-tocopherol, and delta-tocopherol, with gamma-tocopherol being the form that most specifically inhibits the LDL oxidation, driving atherosclerotic plaque formation. Most vitamin E supplements provide only alpha-tocopherol, missing the gamma form that research has identified as the most cardiovascularly protective. Walnuts also contain ellagitannins, polyphenols that gut bacteria convert into urolithins, compounds with documented anti-inflammatory and cardiovascular protective activity that persist in circulation for days after consumption. And walnuts' L-arginine content stimulates endothelial nitric oxide production, relaxing arterial walls, lowering blood pressure, and improving blood flow throughout the cardiovascular system. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine's Associated Journal found that walnut consumption produced significant reductions in total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides, while simultaneously increasing HDL, the complete cardiovascular lipid improvement that no single medication produces across all four markers at once. After just 5 days of daily walnut consumption, endothelial function, measured by flow-mediated dilation of the brachial artery, improved significantly, confirming that arterial health begins changing within the first week. The third thing that happens is your stress response and mood begin stabilizing as your brain's neurotransmitter production receives the nutrients it has been missing. After 45, the chronic stress that accumulating responsibilities, health concerns, and life transitions produce drives cortisol elevation that directly damages the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory formation and emotional regulation. Elevated cortisol reduces neurogenesis in the hippocampus, shrinks hippocampal volume over time, and impairs the serotonin and dopamine signaling that mood stability requires. Walnuts address this through 3 simultaneous mechanisms. Their magnesium, 45 milligrams per ounce, reduces cortisol production by modulating the HPA axis, the hormonal stress response system that chronic stress keeps chronically activated. Their tryptophan, the amino acid precursor to serotonin, provides the raw material for serotonin synthesis that stress depletes. And their melatonin content? Walnuts are one of the very few foods containing bioavailable melatonin, directly supports the sleep quality that stress disrupts and that cortisol reduction requires to consolidate. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition found that walnut consumption significantly reduced several biomarkers of stress and depression, including cortisol levels and inflammatory cytokines in adults experiencing chronic stress, with the combined magnesium, tryptophan, and polyphenol effect producing mood improvements measurable within 2 weeks of consistent consumption. 3 changes, 7 days, $1. Now let me show you exactly how to get all 3. If you are serious about taking care of your health after 45, this video is for you. And here is exactly what you are going to get from it. First, I have shown you the 3 things happening inside your body when you eat walnuts for 7 days. Know these before you begin, because understanding the biology is what keeps you consistent when results take the days they naturally take. Second, 3 exact methods, step-by-step, precise quantities, precise timing. A complete protocol starting today. Third, the science, the mechanism, the research. So you are not taking my word for it. You are following a protocol validated by clinical evidence. This is not a video you watch and forget. Write down the methods and begin today. Stay for every section. Each one builds on the one before it. Skip any part and you will miss the piece that makes everything else work. Here's the commitment I am making to you today. Follow the 3 methods I'm going to give you with complete consistency for 7 days. Just 7 days. And here is what that week looks like. By day 1 and 2, the magnesium begins replenishing cortisol regulation. The background anxiety, the tight shoulders, and the mental restlessness that chronic stress produces begin easing as the HPA axis receives the magnesium break it has been missing. By day 3 and 4, the omega-3 fatty acids begin incorporating into neuronal membranes. Signal transmission begins improving. Word retrieval becomes faster, and the mental fog that omega-3 deficiency produces begins lifting. By day 5 and 6, cardiovascular changes begin showing. Endothelial function improves, blood pressure trends lower, and the gamma-tocopherol begins reducing the LDL oxidation that has been damaging arterial walls. By day 7, sleep quality begins improving as melatonin and tryptophan accumulate. The deeper sleep onset and the more rested morning that adequate walnut consumption produces becomes noticeable by the end of the first week. 7 days, starting today. One more thing before the methods. Right now, make one decision. You are going to buy raw walnuts today, specifically raw unsalted walnut halves, not roasted, not salted, not candied. Raw walnut halves with the papery inner skin intact. The inner skin of walnuts contains the highest concentration of ellagitannins, the polyphenols that gut bacteria convert to urolithins, and peeled or heavily processed walnuts have lost a significant portion of this content. The slight bitterness of the inner skin is the ellagitannin content. Do not avoid the bitter walnut. The bitter walnut is the medicinal walnut. Raw, unsalted, skin intact. 1 ounce. Approximately 7 whole walnuts or 14 halves per day. $1 per serving. Today is your first handful. So let me show you exactly how to use walnuts for 7 days. Step by step, precise quantities, exact timing. The first method is soaked walnuts every morning on an empty stomach. This is the foundational daily method, and the soaking step transforms both the bioavailability and the digestive tolerance of walnuts in ways that most people have never been told. Here is exactly how to prepare it. Every night before bed, place 7 whole walnuts, or 14 walnut halves, in a small glass and cover completely with water. Leave to soak overnight for a minimum of 8 hours. In the morning, on an empty stomach, drain the soaking water, which will have turned slightly brown from the tannins released during soaking. Eat the soaked walnuts slowly, chewing each piece thoroughly. The soaking serves 3 critical purposes. First, it reduces the phytic acid content by up to 30%, increasing the bioavailability of walnuts' magnesium, zinc, and iron. Second, it reduces the tannin concentration in the outer skin, making the polyphenols more bioavailable by reducing the astringency that inhibits their absorption in the gut. Third, it activates lipase, the fat-digesting enzyme, making the ALA omega-3 fatty acids significantly easier to absorb and convert. 7 whole walnuts soaked overnight, empty stomach, every morning. The ALA, the ellagitannins, the gamma-tocopherol, and the magnesium all delivered at their maximum bioavailability before the day's first meal. The second method is walnut and dark honey brain tonic before bed 3 times per week. This method delivers walnuts' melatonin, tryptophan, and omega-3 content at the pre-sleep window, when the brain's overnight repair and memory consolidation processes are most active, and when the serotonin to melatonin conversion that tryptophan enables determines the depth and restorative quality of sleep. Here is exactly how to prepare it. 3 nights per week, 30 minutes before bed. Take 5 walnut halves and crush them coarsely with a spoon in a small bowl. Add 1 teaspoon of raw dark honey, specifically dark honey, which contains significantly higher polyphenol content than light honey, and whose antioxidants combine with walnuts' ellagitannins for a synergistic brain protective effect. Add a pinch of cinnamon. Mix into a thick paste and eat slowly, followed by a small glass of warm water. The fat in the walnuts enhances the blood-brain barrier transport of tryptophan, while the honey's small insulin spike clears competing amino acids from the bloodstream, allowing tryptophan to reach the brain at higher concentration and convert to serotonin and melatonin more efficiently. 5 walnut halves crushed, dark honey, cinnamon, 3 nights per week before bed. The third method is walnut and yogurt gut-brain axis preparation as a midday snack. This method targets the gut-brain axis, the bidirectional communication pathway between the gut microbiome and the brain that research has identified as one of the most important determinants of mood, cognitive function, and neuroinflammation. Walnuts are one of the most powerful prebiotic foods for the specific gut bacteria that produce the short-chain fatty acids and neurotransmitter precursors that support brain function, including lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, and roseburia. Here is exactly how to prepare it. Every day at midday, between meals on a relatively empty stomach, take 1 ounce of raw walnuts, roughly chopped. Add them to half a cup of plain, full-fat yogurt containing live cultures. Add 1 teaspoon of raw honey and a pinch of ground flaxseed. Eat this preparation slowly over 5 minutes. The yogurt's live cultures provide the beneficial bacteria that walnut ellagitannins feed as prebiotics. And the combination of prebiotic walnut polyphenols and probiotic yogurt bacteria produces a gut microbiome shift that begins within 3 to 4 days and that directly reduces the intestinal inflammation, communicating inflammatory signals to the brain through the vagus nerve. 1 ounce walnuts, full-fat yogurt with live cultures, honey, flaxseed. Every midday between meals. Now beyond brain, cardiovascular, and mood benefits, because daily walnuts do 2 other deeply significant things for people over 45 that are worth knowing from day 1. The first additional benefit is powerful cancer protective activity through walnuts' unique ellagitannin and omega-3 combination. The urolithins produced when gut bacteria metabolize walnut ellagitannins have been documented in research published in Cancer Letters to inhibit the growth of breast, prostate, and colon cancer cells through multiple mechanisms, including the inhibition of angiogenesis, the process by which tumors grow new blood vessels to sustain their expansion. Walnuts' omega-3 fatty acids reduce the prostaglandin E2 production that drives the inflammatory microenvironment in which cancer cells preferentially grow. For people over 45 whose cancer risk is rising with age, the daily walnut is one of the most evidence-based whole food cancer protective interventions available. The second additional benefit is improvement in male reproductive health through walnuts' omega-3, antioxidant, and arginine content. Research in biology of reproduction found men adding walnuts daily for 12 weeks showed significant improvements in sperm vitality, motility, and morphology, attributable to reduced sperm membrane lipid peroxidation from omega-3 incorporation and improved testicular blood flow from L-arginine nitric oxide production. For men over 45 experiencing reproductive health decline, the daily walnut addresses sperm quality, testosterone support, and vascular health together. And here is the one surprising fact about walnuts that is going to completely change how you think about this nut, and why the timing of consumption has been shown to matter more than most people realize. Walnuts contain melatonin, the sleep hormone, at concentrations sufficient to significantly raise blood melatonin levels after consumption, confirmed by research measuring urinary melatonin metabolites after walnut consumption compared to a melatonin-free control diet. But melatonin from walnuts is not only a sleep compound. Melatonin is one of the most potent antioxidants produced in the body. It crosses the blood-brain barrier freely, neutralizes hydroxyl radicals and peroxynitrite directly in neural tissue, and upregulates the brain's own antioxidant enzyme production. The melatonin in walnuts, therefore, provides both the sleep quality improvement and the direct neuroprotection that makes walnuts uniquely suited to the pre-sleep window. No other commonly eaten nut contains meaningful melatonin. Walnuts eaten at night provide a sleep hormone and a brain antioxidant simultaneously, from the same handful. A study at the University of Texas found that walnut consumption raised blood antioxidant capacity by up to 8.5%, confirming the systemic antioxidant elevation that walnut melatonin and polyphenols produce together. Now let me explain exactly why your body needs walnuts specifically after 45, and what stops working in your cells that walnuts directly restore. After 45, cellular energy generation changes in a very specific way, and the change hits the brain hardest. The brain consumes 20% of the body's total energy, despite being only 2% of body weight. When mitochondrial efficiency declines after 45, the brain feels the deficit first. It has the highest energy demand and the least tolerance for shortfall. The result is brain fog, slow word retrieval, difficulty concentrating, and mental fatigue that people over 45 experience as the most frustrating aspect of aging. Walnuts restore brain cell energy production through the most direct mechanism available. ALA omega-3 fatty acids incorporate into the mitochondrial inner membrane, where the electron transport chain operates, increasing its fluidity and improving electron transfer efficiency. A stiff, omega-3 depleted mitochondrial membrane reduces ATP output from the same food intake. Walnuts' ellagitannins stimulate mitophagy, clearing old, inefficient mitochondria and allowing new, efficient ones to replace them. And walnut magnesium replenishes the ATP synthase cofactor that declines with age, ensuring electrons complete their conversion to ATP rather than being lost as heat. Research in the British Journal of Nutrition found walnut consumption for 10 weeks produced significant improvements in brain energy metabolism markers by neuroimaging in adults over 65. Confirming mitochondrial restoration translates into measurable brain energy improvement. Remember the question from the beginning? If walnuts are the only nut clinically proven to significantly improve brain function, lower cardiovascular risk, and reduce depression markers simultaneously, for $1, what has your brain actually been starving for all this time? The ALA omega-3 that neuronal membranes require to conduct signals at full speed. The gamma-tocopherol that prevents LDL oxidation more effectively than the supplements most people are buying. The melatonin that provides both deep sleep and direct neural antioxidant protection from the same handful. The ellagitannins that gut bacteria convert into the urolithins, protecting cardiovascular, neural, and cellular health for days after every serving. And the magnesium, tryptophan, and cortisol reduction that together restore the mood stability and stress resilience that 45 and beyond does not have to take away. 7 walnuts, every single day, starting today. Here is what you learned today. When you eat walnuts for 7 days over 45, 3 things happen. Your brain begins receiving the omega-3 fatty acids it has been depleted of as ALA incorporates into neuronal membranes and improves signal transmission speed and memory function. Your cardiovascular risk shifts as gamma-tocopherol inhibits LDL oxidation. L-arginine restores endothelial nitric oxide production. And ellagitannin-derived urolithins reduce arterial inflammation. And your stress response stabilizes as magnesium reduces cortisol, tryptophan restores serotonin synthesis, and melatonin improves sleep quality and provides direct neuroprotection overnight. 3 methods. Soaked walnuts every morning on an empty stomach for maximum omega-3 and mineral bioavailability. Walnut and dark honey brain tonic 3 nights per week for pre-sleep melatonin and tryptophan delivery. And walnut yogurt midday preparation for gut-brain axis prebiotic support. Raw, unsalted, inner skin intact. The bitter skin is the medicine every single day. If this video gave you a real, practical, affordable solution for the brain health, heart health, and mood stability you have been trying to protect since 45, please hit that like button right now and subscribe. Every week, honest science, practical protocols, affordable solutions for people who are serious about their health after 45. Tell me in the comments, what is your biggest concern right now? Memory, heart health, or stress? Drop your honest answer below, because your answer might help another person over 45 realize that the walnut sitting in the grocery store for $1 is the most clinically validated brain food on Earth. 7 walnuts. Soaked tonight, eaten tomorrow morning. Your brain has been waiting. Starting today. I will see you in the next one.